Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. So today is going to be a second video where I'm just going to look at my face rendering in a little bit more detail. So we've done the basic kind of first steps and then I want to do a little bit more. So for that I would recommend you find some images of portraiture photography and look at the lighting and shadowing situation. So I've got this great book here which is called The Dramatic Portrait, The Art of Crafting Light and Shadow by Chris Knight. So this is a photography book and it goes through how to use lighting in photography. But this book is fantastic for getting inspiration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this book somewhere where I can refer to it and look at my illustration and try to get this sort of stronger shadowing here, because at the minute we have some areas that still look relatively flat. So I'd say this area here needs a bit more working, and around the chin as well, possibly even around this area. So you see where the nose is at the moment, I just have a line there, but when we look at the picture here, we have a stronger shadowing here which goes all the way there, and you can see here with the cheekbone it goes down a little bit. So we'll try to play with that a little bit and go more into depth and hopefully enjoy ourselves doing that. All right, let's start. So before I start, if you're new, I just wanted to quickly explain what we're doing here actually. So this face was created using my FOTD face stamp, and it's basically, build your own, and you can create different fashion faces with different expressions, as you have 4 different sets of eyes, 4 different sets of eyebrows, lips. I realized I haven't shown you that you can actually cut these pairs in the middle to create more kind of whimsical characters, probably would be the right way of describing it, but that's for another time. So these are available on Etsy, Alyona Creates. In essence, what you can do, of course, is leaving it like that. There's nothing wrong with this, and then start focusing on the like a, maybe a floral crown or hair, or the body even, like I've done in this illustration here. So you can build upon it. You don't need to spend hours on the face, but you can do if you want to. So if you have loads of time on your hands and you feel like approaching this similar to botanical paintings, where you just layer and layer and layer over long period of time, days and days, and keep coming back to your little craft area or art area and just sort of seeing it every time become more and more, then that's obviously a great thing to do. But it is totally up to you. It's not essential to work on this for days. So what I'm going to do now is start on the forehead here. So if you remember from the previous video, I had a few pencils lined up, so I still have them here. And the main 3 pencils were the Derwent Drawing Pencils in Terracotta, Mars Orange, and Light Sienna. So I will pick one of them. I'll start with the Mars Orange to begin with. So you can see she's got hair here, but imagine she doesn't, because you can see the darkest point right here sort of stops halfway and it really fades out towards the middle of the forehead. So this is what we're trying to achieve. Also, to avoid smudging what we have going on here, I'm just going to use my Illustrated Faith. It's supposed to be a Bible mat, but these are fantastic crafting little mats. They come in different sizes. So I'm going to start right on the middle, and obviously remember you don't need to do it all the way up here because you could have some hair or you can do other things, but imagine that's what we're working with today. We don't have hair or floral crowns or anything like that. So I am going to basically fade out at this point and start going really light up to here, looking at the eyebrow. So about here. about there. I'm going to take the darkest color now, and with the darkest color just blend it a touch. Okay, I always keep a brush this side because when you're working on this background, which by the way, again, if you haven't seen the first video of me doing this, these are the markers that I use. So I use this Pastel pink, I think it's called. Let's see. Skin Pastel. And then that creates a really sort of strong texture. Now I'm going to go into the lightest color and start blending out. I'm pulling this color out to the middle of the forehead, going over both of them. And that's essentially what you do. You just keep on layering things. So no longer is her forehead looking flat. Of course, you could spend more time and adding a bit more darkness. So I'm just looking here that there's quite a bit more coming out onto here. And that's what I'm going to do. These are beautifully blendable and great for layering. So we created a bit more shape here. And maybe my shape needs to be a bit more rounder. So I'll take it out here. That's it. Looks a bit more natural. Again, going in with a darker color, building it up just here. Isn't it beautiful to see what a pencil can do? Honestly, I have never been into colored pencils ever because they just used to be incredibly boring for me until I started trying the polychromos. Was my first colored pencil. And then I tried some of those Caran d'Ache ones, what are they called, luminance, and then the Holbeins, and then the Derwents. And I have to say, they all have their kind of beautiful aspects to them. But the best I find that's out there for what I like doing is the Derwent Drawing Pencil. There's just nothing like it. And unfortunately, at the minute, there is a limitation of, I think, 26 colors, was it? No, 24 colors. So it's this tin here. Okay, now let's go down and we have the eyes. So if you can see, there's a strong shadowing where literally you almost can't see half of her nose. And the nose shape is created by the shadow here. So let's work on that. So I'm going to start with the middle color, creating a bit of a stronger shade. A shade that should go kind of in the middle of her nose, really, on the side of it. And then there's a little nostril that's highlighted, so I'm going to do that with the shade. And then behind the nostril there's again more shade, and this line of shade goes all the way almost to where the eye meets. So that's what I'm going to do. So the nose is a little bit tricky. I'm going to go with the darkest right here because it really is a sharp shadowing. So because there's a little kind of nostril shape, you do need to spend quite a bit of time on just the nose itself, but there you go. I'm just going to do this, and then the lightest color just to blend the two. So about there. And then I think I would take it out a bit further actually, even further about this area. Okay, so I'm quite happy with how this is working. Now I'm going to look at her eye, and what I can see there's a crease line which needs to be quite strong, so about where we put her eyeshadow. So this crease line seems to be going almost all the way around until it hits that sort of point where it's going to get very dark and almost you can't see anything. So let's continue with this darkness here and build it up quite a bit so this disappears into the darkest area here. I find that these pencils are great even for like complete beginners. If you don't know what to do with a pencil, it's very hard to mess up something because you can build on, you can layer. I like to work with my pencil in a very with a lot of pressure. There's only one person actually that I have seen so far that likes to work with a pencil the way I like, and that's Natasha Newton. Hey, if you're watching. I just love pressing onto my pencils, but I have learned that you can totally use it to your advantage. So we've done this bit and we're completely done here. So when I say to advantage, when we're working with a face, obviously you want to add a bit more pressure and less pressure when you're creating these blends. But at the darkest, I like to really go for it. So now I'm going to go back here with the darkest one and create the same intensity as I have here. Just bring it out a bit more like that. You see that you can just keep on going back to it. There is no kind of limitation really. I guess at some point you'll probably hit that limitation point, but until then you can get a lot. So look at that, what a big difference it already makes. So now looking at this picture, we have quite a lot of darkness from this corner here to that corner, so until this bit here basically. We don't have it as light because she's not wearing any eyeshadow by the looks of it. We're wearing an eyeshadow there, so I can, if I wanted to, make the eyeshadow a bit more intense just to bring it out a bit more. That's it. I'm going to go back into this colour because we see it's quite dark in there and kind of add a bit more darkness up to about this point here. I'm keeping a very light highlight there, but you can see that most of my highlight is coming from this area right there. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to go lower now, so between this and that area is where I'm looking, and I can see that this area needs to be darker, so we're going to bring it out, going with the darkest pencil in and starting to lift the pressure about here. Then I'm going to start with halfway in with the Mars Orange and moving it out even slightly more, and then trying to blend the two. Okay, so that's that, and then it is a little bit more darker under the eye here, so I'm going to add that shadowing a bit stronger because I know I have the space here to move it out a bit more. So I'm starting to blend now. You see I'm blending on the second color, not the first. There we go. So that looks a bit more deeper now. Okay, so let's carry on now. So there's this kind of triangle of a highlight, which is what we have. And I'm just going to blend out a little bit of this. Maybe blend these two together, because it's unclear at the minute what's going on. Like that. Okay. So this area kind of needs to connect to that, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to continue that darker into here, and then just blending the two like that. Okay, so this area is done. Then under her nose, there seems to be quite a bit of darkness under her nose, which almost goes into here. Now, that's a tricky part. Let's start with the Cupid's bow here. So this is tricky because it very quickly can start looking like a moustache. So it needs to fade out into nothing around here. And then with a lot of pressure, we're just going to blend out this, because we want it to look nice and smooth, not like a, you know, stuck on mustache. So with the Cupid's bow, we're going to try and work on it. Again, it's a tricky one because it's also quite small, but I think that's about good. I'm just going to add the other color for a bit of dimension. Yeah, so that's quite good. Then we're going to start working on the last part here, which is the chin. With the chin, there's a little dimple, is it called? I know it's dimple in the cheeks. What do you call it in the chin? So a little bit of darkness, mostly around here, actually around the whole lip, like that. And then it just fades out. So we've got a little shadowing here, and I can start adding the warmer color like so, and then start blending things again. Okay, so here we have kind of a lot of darkness still going down, so I'm going to repeat that throughout. So all we're going to do is blend it out now a little bit into lighter color, and then the darker color, or the middle color, sorry, and lifting the pressure off. And then with the lighter color, just blending the whole thing together. So at this point, there isn't like a millimeter that hasn't been worked on. Somehow the ending of this video hasn't been recorded, so I just wanted to come in and say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the process, and I will see you soon.